Welcome back to the IBFP. Here's your host, Boxing Nuke.
Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back. Let's just dig right into it. Tony Bellew versus Oleksandr Usyk. Now, this is going to be a great fight, and I'm just going to give you a quick breakdown and prediction. And let's just go over this fight because these guys are pretty huge in Europe. And if you look at it like this is a completely free fight that's pay-per-view that you can get on the zone. So that's a great thing for any American watching this fight. The significance of this fight is that Oleksandr Usyk could end up fighting Anthony Joshua. He's a unified champion at cruiserweight. And so this is a huge accomplishment. Tony Bellew is looking to put his stamp in the history books by defeating Oleksandr Usyk. So let's see if he can do it. Tony Bellew has 30 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw with 20 knockouts. He's been stopped once. The one time he was stopped in his career was against an Adonis Stevenson at 175 pounds. Now, I'll tell you that some people believe that Tony Bellew was weight drained. That's not the best weight for him, and that's not a weight that he should be fighting at. And so that shows a lot. He has not taken a loss since that fight, and that fight actually happened in 2013. Tony Bellew has moved up in weight. He's looked phenomenal, and his last 2 victories came against David Haye in 2 stoppage wins. So you got to give him some credit for that. And the 2 fights before that, he had 2 more stoppage wins against a BJ Flores. And you also have to look at it like this. Tony Bellew has not fought the best names, and he has not defeated the best challenges. And some people felt that David Haye was done when he fought him. So this fight will validate his career as a Hall of Famer if he becomes undisputed cruiserweight champion. If he does not win this fight, then you can pretty much say his resume is not good enough to be Hall of Fame worthy. You can say his resume is not good enough to be mentioned as one of the greatest ever. And that's why he's taking this fight, because he wants to make history. He wants to do something that will put him up there with the best of all time. Tony Bellew is 6'3" with a 74-inch reach. He's 35 years old. So that's one thing about Tony Bellew. Basically, he's a boxer puncher. He doesn't have the best defense at times, and he goes in a little reckless because he feels that he's going to look for the knockout in this fight. So that's what you can expect from Tony Bellew. Now let's take a look at Oleksandr Usyk. Okay, now Oleksandr Usyk is 15-0 with 11 knockouts. He's basically 31 years old. He's Ukrainian, and he's 6'3" with a 78-inch reach. He's a very technically sound and skilled fighter. He can fight in a multitude of styles. He's also been compared to Vasyl Lomachenko as far as a cruiserweight with his skill set. I don't believe he's as good as a Vasyl Lomachenko based on, if they were at the same weight at that type of comparison, but I do think he's a very talented fighter. He has unified his division. His last victory came over Murat Gassiev, where he defeated him in a 12-round unanimous decision. Basically, he blew out Gassiev, who was his opposition in the World Boxing Super Series after dominating that. Honestly, if we're going to be completely unbiased, I think Oleksandr Usyk beats Tony Bellew. I would like Tony Bellew to win this fight. I think Tony Bellew is a nice guy and everything. I just don't see him having enough skills to be able to beat an Oleksandr Usyk, a guy who's basically sitting in his prime, a guy who's shown that he can box, he can punch, he can do it all. He has amazing footwork, and Tony Bellew is just not going to be able to keep up with this guy. I believe Tony Bellew is going to give everything he has, and I believe in the first 4 or 5 rounds, Tony Bellew will look somewhat decent, and he'll look good. He'll make the fight a little bit ugly. After the 4th or 5th round, Oleksandr Usyk is going to make this fight look very bad on the part of Tony Bellew. He's just going to completely outbox and shut him down, I believe, after the 4th or 5th round. And I think he picks up a 12-round unanimous decision against Tony Bellew. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't think that Tony Bellew could get a stoppage against this guy or hurt Oleksandr Usyk. There was a time where I thought Bellew would win this fight. But just re-examining everything and looking at the skill set, I can't justify Tony Bellew beating Oleksandr Usyk. I just see no way that he's going to be able to pull that off. He does have a puncher's chance because he does have a big punch. But I have to go in favor of Oleksandr Usyk in the 12th round. Unanimous decision. And I also think that if Oleksandr Usyk can basically, get enough clean shots on Tony Bellew, he may be able to hurt him and stop him. That would be an ultimate statement for him moving up to heavyweight before he would look to challenge Anthony Joshua. I think that'll be a very entertaining matchup. And since he's thinking about moving up to heavyweight, we're going to use this fight as a gauge on whether he can do that, because Bellew has fought at heavyweight his last 2 fights. Once again, it's the IBFP.